All right, so for this project, we are going to be working in 3D in Vectorworks. In the book, he does SketchUp, but I am just going to transfer the information over to Vectorworks. So you're going to save your document as 4.1 and then your name. And we're going to start on page 86, drafting out the simple incline, or what I will probably call a ramp. So I'm going to go ahead and save 4.1. And then I am going to go ahead and we're going to start. We are in plan view, so we're looking down on a two-dimensional view, and we're going to start by just drawing a two-dimensional rectangle. In the book, they call for 8 feet, 0 by 4 feet. We're going to center place it right onto the center of our page. Awesome. And then what we need to do for a ramp, so when you draw a square, so we are going to just use our flyover tool just to sort of reiterate the fact that we are in a two-dimensional drawing. So there it is, just laying on our page. But when we go to our 2D view, it looks like that. So we're going to extrude it. So extruding is where we're pulling it up. And we're going to extrude it 2 feet. All right, so then when you do your flyover, you can see that you have a cube rather than just a square. And we're going to go to a front view. And then basically, in order to get that incline or that ramp, the easiest way to do it in Vectorworks, the easiest way, in my opinion, is to go ahead and just subtract solids. So we are going to go use the 2D polygon tool. Remember, when we're doing a subtraction, we do want our object to go beyond the object we want to leave. So I drew this polygon, and when you fly over, you can see again that this is two-dimensional. It's not a 3D object. So we need to turn it into a 3D object. I want to make sure that I am on a straight front view. Well, there you have it. I was on a back view. I'm going to go ahead and extrude that beyond the 4 feet width of my ramp. So what I can do is I can just do 6 feet. And then when I go back to my top view, you can see that the object I drew is larger, but it's not quite lined up. So I do need to move it on that y-axis at least 2 feet. So using my Command M, I'm going to move it. I'm going to go ahead and move it 3 feet. It's positive on that y. Awesome. So it's covering up the entirety of the ramp. So if you fly over, you can kind of see that ramp is underneath. And then all you have to do is shift, select both objects, and subtract solids. You can subtract solids by going to Model, and then subtract solids. Again, whatever's red is what's going to stay. The other one will go away. If you want to retain this object, you can simply click this box, but we don't want to retain it right now. So we are going to press OK. And then when you fly over, you have a three-dimensional ramp. So we're going to go back to a top view, and you will be turning this document in as a Vectorworks file in 3D. So for a 3D file, we don't need to treat it like a 2D drafting. This is computer-aided modeling, essentially. So we're just going to pull this up here to the top left quadrant. And then I want to draw the tent object that is on page 89. So what I'd like to do is create a situation where I don't have this ramp in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Tools, and I'm going to go to Organization, and I'm going to create I could create its own design layer called ramp, or I can do it as a class and create a class for each individual object, which is what I typically do. So I am going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to call it ramp. And then when you're in classes, down on the bottom right hand of your screen in the navigation, you can see that the check mark is in none. So we've just been building right here in a class called none. But what I'd like to do is get this object and move it to the ramp class. The way that I do that is up here in the top right of your drawing, you can see it is object information. This tells us everything we need to know about the object we just built. So its width is 8 feet, its depth is 4 feet, and it's 2 feet tall. So what we see here is that in the layer that it is in design layer 1, which is where we start, the class that's in is none, because that is the automatic class that it goes to. So we're just going to click this, and we are going to place it in the ramp class. So nothing really changed, because when you go over to navigation, you can see that the class options is show, snap, modify others. So we're going to see everything, which is fine. I just tend to leave it there, because the easier way to turn separate objects on and off so you can see them or not is just right here in the visibility of your navigation. The left-hand side has the eye, and when that's on, you can see it. The middle column is the X. So we're going to go click that, and that ramp disappeared, but we can just turn it right back on, and it's still there. So we're just hiding it for the moment. And so we're still in the none class, which is totally fine. To draw in that, you have to have the check mark right next to it. We're going to go ahead and build that tent. And what I'm going to do is we're going to sort of use a different method that is more similar to what the book teaches you about SketchUp. So the foundation for your tent is 8 foot by, let's see, I thought it was 8 foot by 4. Yes, 8 feet by 4 feet. So we're starting with the same size. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and then I'm going to click it right there to page center. So we are going to do some reference points just like the book says to do. So using the line tool, I'm going to go ahead and find the center left of my object, draw right through center. You can see it's giving us the red reference line. We can go beyond the edge. That's okay. Then I'm going to just come back, find it the diagonal line on the blue handle, and I'm going to pull it out a little bit further. The next thing they wanted us to do is to do some reference lines right at 2 feet, which is a quarter of the way. 2 ways that we can do that. I can just come over to the top left edge, draw a line right along that left line, and then I can use Command M to move my line 2 feet. Oop. Want to extend it beyond a little bit. The other way I could just do that is to just simply recognize that this does allow you to automatically find the top center, and then also the quarter of that object. So using that, I know that it's 2 feet over because it goes basically 2, 4, 6, 8. So those are the points that we need. The next thing I want to do is I want to do some lines going coming up off of this line, which is basically the Z. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, instead of being in a top view, I'm going to go to a front view. You can't really see those lines, which is fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on my line tool, because we want this line to be 1 foot 6 inches. And then I'm just going to place it. Oh, it went flat. So what I can do is I can just fly over. There's my line. I'm going to go back to that front view now that I see where it is. I'm going to hit Command L. That rotates it left. I'm going to go move it 2 feet 0 inches just to get it above that 0 point. I'm going to fly over, rotate. And then when you're up above at an angle like this, you can see our reference lines. And we basically want to grab this line by the bottom blue handle and drag it so that it hits the object slash object. It's at the cross point of the 2 lines. And that is essentially what we're looking for there. Now, my line is already selected and I need to have another line at this crossing. So what I'm going to do is simply go back into a top view, and it is selected even though you can't really see it very well. Oh, now it's not selected. Great job, Renee. Okay, so you can see there's a blue dot, which means it's selected. And then I'm simply going to use my mirror tool, find center, go down vertical, and it should have duplicated over here, which when I fly over, I can see that indeed that worked. I could have also done my mirroring from top view. That would have been a-okay. Now, there are 2 ways that we really can do this. One way is to create this tent by creating a cube and then subtracting it out. However, we did kind of discover an easier way to do that. So in my tool set over here, you can find this 3D modeling tool. And then what I'm going to do is use the 3D polygon tool. And what I'm going to do is, I know where all of my points are because of my reference lines. And I can simply click find my endpoint here, click, and then finish out that polygon. I will do the same thing on the other side. .3D polygon tool. And then we need to fill in these ends. All right, so we have magically created this 3D object, which is really spectacular looking. Truth be told, I have not worked with this tool ever before until this week. Abby, who has used SketchUp quite a bit, showed me that tool, and so I'm anxious to try it out and see how it really functions within a 3D model. And so that's kind of going to be something fun to explore. There's always something new with Vectorworks. It's kind of crazy. So what I want to do now is we're going to select this object. And oops, before I do that, we need to make a tent class now. So we're going to go up to Tools, Organization. I'm going to create a new class called Tent. Okay. And then I'm going to select these objects and I'm going to move them out of the None class, and I'm going to move them into the Tent class. And now I can turn my ramp back on, and it is still here just doing its thing. And this is all that I need you guys to do for this assignment. So go ahead, and what you're going to do is just you can turn in your Vectorworks file right onto D2L. All right, see you soon.